Council, good evening.
Good evening.
Joe Pilchesky, 819 Sunset Street. Your Honor, I have some papers that I'd like to give each of you. May I approach?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for accepting those papers. You've all been properly served. Just kidding. Need glasses. This is another in a series of presentations I'm going to provide relating to connecting corruption in City Hall with corruption in the courthouse. Where taking legal action is concerned, the old saying that you can't fight City Hall comes from a lot of bad experiences people have had in trying to sue City Hall. When you sue City Hall, from the outset, you're up against a very formidable opponent. That opponent is called immunity. The immunity afforded to the government is extremely substantial because suing the government and winning could drain or bring our revenues very low, and that's why it was established over 200 years ago. It's a struggle getting past the immunity defense, but I've managed to do that in all the cases I have against the city. However, it was all accomplished under appeal because the local judges just simply give the city lawyers whatever they want and force you into appeal. I believe the Honorable Counsel has had an experience with our judges. With the success against these defenses in the rearview mirror, I then proceeded with the legal actions, but then encountered more roadblocks to justice from the Office of the Court Administrator, which is run by Mr. Ron McKay. Mr. McKay is a very nice man who would probably do backflips for you from one end of the building to the other to serve you. At least that's been my experience. The staff at the Office of the Court Administrator, the secretaries are very professional, well-informed, and they're always very courteous. But then there's the problem. And that problem is the gentleman who schedules the cases, who is Mr. McLean, the Deputy Court Administrator. If you're the right lawyer with the right relationship with the court, you can get your case scheduled in front of the judge of your choice, and Mr. McLean is that person who will get that done for you. That's called judge shopping. It's not permitted, but it happens in this county all the time, which is very prejudicial to opposing counsel and litigants. I'll have more about that at a future presentation. Right now, I'd like to share with you how Mr. McLean participates in frustrating cases involving the city by not scheduling these cases promptly. I don't mind waiting for my day in court. I'm used to it. Most attorneys and litigants are. But I do mind waiting a rather long period of time to have that day scheduled. My cases, as you know, relate to righting wrongs by the city. They should not be dragged out forever, which is what's happening. The people's best interests are at the heart of all of the legal actions I've filed. I've not asked for anything for myself, just to right these wrongs. Like, for example, fighting to recover parks that were illegally sold, to recover the library buildings that are now improperly in the possession of the library authority that was dissolved, and removing ineligible public officials from office, among other types of cases. The people should know that their best interests are being pushed aside and delayed by Mr. McLean's actions. Each of you have been provided with examples of what I referred to. You have Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and Exhibit C before you, although I could have provided many, many more. Exhibit A is the action I filed to recover the golf course, wrongfully sold several years ago. The case is now 6 years old, although it could have been over in 6 months in front of an honest judge, with the people getting the golf course back, which was contributing about $200,000 a year in revenue. On September the 2nd of 2010, I requested an argument date on an issue in that case. That's marked page 1 in your Exhibit A. It's a standard form called a precipice for assignment. Page 2 is the notice from Mr. McLean regarding my hearing date in that matter. Look at the date on Mr. McLean's letter of notice. It's December the 13th of 2010 with a hearing date of February 11th. That's 101 days just to get a hearing date. And it was issued only after confronting Mr. McLean, or it may have still not be issued yet. Exhibit B is an action that I filed to recover $30,000 from former Councilwoman Judy Gatelli after the city paid that much money in legal fees for a private lawsuit that she engaged herself in. On September the 3rd of 2010, I requested an argument date on an issue in that case. That's marked page 1 of Exhibit B. Page 2 is the notice from Mr. McLean regarding my hearing date. Look at the date on his letter of notice. It's also December the 13th. That's 100 days later after requesting an argument date that he finally provides one, and that's again only after confronting Mr. McLean for a date. It's happened repeatedly with him. Exhibit C is an action I filed to remove Mr. McDowell from office because he's ineligible to hold the office of County Controller. These types of actions are always scheduled very expeditiously, considering someone is holding office illegally, as Mr. McDowell is. At page 1 in Exhibit C is my motion for an expedited hearing dated December the 30th of 2009. At page 4, you'll see the order signed by Judge Nealon, dated December the 30th, 2009, that granted the motion after a 45-minute argument and ordered Mr. McLean to schedule an expedited hearing, which is usually within 7 to 10 days in these types of matters. At page 5 is the scheduling order filled in by Mr. McLean, setting the hearing date for February the 26th, or 59 days after Judge Nealon ordered Mr. McLean to provide an expedited hearing. These types of schedulings are very problematic when we have serious issues and things of great public importance before the court. Understand that Mr. McLean has to do what he's told to do by the judges. But on matters of great public importance, the judges should not interfere with scheduling to cause delay. Or in the alternative, Mr. McLean should not be unilaterally causing delay in justice for the people. These are lawsuits that are only to recover things that the people have wrongfully lost. They should be expedited, brought before a judge quickly and get it done. Instead, they're dragged out for 5 or 6 years. I think of the hope that I'll either get frustrated and quit or whatever the case may be. Fortunately for them and fortunately for the people, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to hang right in there with them. But you can readily see what I'm up against here and consider how many suits there are against the city. There are over 100 of them, and they all get dragged out, all of them, with opposing counsel just running up a tab and making a fortune on these delays. So I hope I made my point, and I'll see you next week, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you.